Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Gigi Kopelak and my guest today is Kathleen Reckling. She is the director of one of the nicest, the largest, the most beautiful galleries in Westchester County. It is the Westchester Arts Gallery that's on Mamaroneck Avenue in White Plains. Welcome, Kathleen. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So I've just described this beautiful gallery, so now you have to tell us. This is in an historic building, am I right?
Correct. We're right in downtown White Plains on Mamaroneck Avenue. The building was built in 1929. It was a bank. Not a great year to build a bank.
No, that's true. I didn't think about that, but yeah.
And so over the years, it's changed hands. I think a lot of people that come in remember it when it was a Chase Bank. Mm-hmm. And our CEO, Janet Langsom, saw the building, saw its potential as a home for the arts, and acquired it from Chase in 2001. And over the last decade, it's basically turned into just that, a home for the arts. We have artists that rent studios and create work in the building.
So let's say you have many floors,
right?
We have
9 floors.
9 floors.
Nine
okay.
floors.
And the first 2, which are very tall ceilings, and well, not the second floor, I guess. The first floor is.
Yep, we have the gallery itself is a very open space, and we have about 30-foot high ceilings, and that's the main gallery. And we do have a second floor gallery as well.
Right. Right, and then on top of that you have offices, and then how many floors of studios?
So our offices are on the 3rd floor.
Mm-hmm.
Floors 4 through 8 are studios.
Wow.
Our 9th floor, which we just recently renovated, is also a gallery and performance space.
Oh, interesting. So that's brand new then?
Brand new. We just basically inaugurated it in the fall. With or actually not even the fall. It was even more recent than that. It was this new year. We had our first exhibitions up there.
It feels so cold outside. That's why you're thinking that.
Exactly. That's moving ahead.
So you have openings, I know, at the gallery, which are fabulous. You have sometimes great restaurants that cater it, and
we have great partnerships with Pernod Ricard, who does our wine for the events, and one of our, I think, premier parties is Arts Bash, and that's when a lot of local restaurants, basically the best of the best, come in, set up tables, and have this wonderful exhibition as their backdrop, and get to showcase their food. Often we will partner with something like Westchester Magazine's Food and Wine Weekend. The opening for the exhibition that you were in, Spin on Green, was the kickoff for that, and so BLT at the Ritz-Carlton came in and served some very nice appetizers.
That was fabulous. Popovers with something inside. I don't know.
We like to keep it classy.
Yeah, very classy. It was great. And then, so this 9th floor, then, will that be in conjunction with the other galleries, or at the same time, or?
In some cases, this fall, for example, we will run a similar show to what we do downstairs. It is right now has its separate programming. And we also are really looking at it as a community space. It's an opportunity for us to show more of our affiliates, to show more artists in the community. And
explain that, the affiliates, because I know the Westchester Arts Council helps a lot of organizations.
Yeah, Arts Westchester is more than just the gallery. We also do performances in the space, but beyond that, we are an umbrella organization that really has a hand in a lot, or most of the cultural events that happen in Westchester County. We do everything from giving grants, which is one of our most important functions, to promoting them through our publications, through our website. So our affiliates are things like the Katona Museum, and the Katona Museum Artists Association has done exhibitions in our space. And
then you have a big music program.
Oh, we have a phenomenal music program. Tom Van Buren is our folklorist and programming performance director. So we do our own things in our gallery. We have a great jazz series, but one of our big initiatives is Music in the Air. We create this great listing of all the free and low-cost concerts across the county. So definitely, besides the visual arts, we're very much involved in performance and music.
So not only do you have the performances in the gallery space, but you also promote them outside. So how do people find out about that?
Well, you can go to our website, which is artsw.org, and we have a link to our Music in the Air listing where all of the summer concerts are listed. In general, we just have the directory for what's going on in Westchester. So anytime you want to know where's a concert, what's going on here, you can find it on our website.
I think it's important to say that it's great if you become a member of Arts Westchester.
This is very true. Becoming a member, there are nice perks. You can get tickets to our events, which are very, very high quality. And then you get to stay in the know.
Right, with what's going on.
Yeah.
What I love about the building is how they, in the end, did the architecture in it, because you have a bank vault and then but you still use it. And I think it's so fun when you go into this vault, because it's not normal people go into vaults, right?
Yeah.
So,
and what's so great about our space, and one of the reasons why I love working there, is it's not your traditional gallery.
Right.
It's not this sort of white-walled, cold space. It's open. The windows are tall and sweeping. We have great natural light. We have these beautiful decorated ceilings, and then we have this vault,
right,
which is an art piece in itself. And I think one of the greatest little spaces to work with, because you can really showcase an artist, or we've done a lot of things very successfully where an artist has done a site-specific installation for us using the history of the building or the vault itself. So it's quite a little inspiration.
I know some artists that have shown there said, oh, someone else got the vault. I wanted the vault.
It's a coveted space. Every so often, I'm not sure if someone will want to be in there, but it can get a little competitive for the vault.
No, but it's great because it is big, but you have a couple of little rooms off the side that gives it a nice closed feeling. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing a performance there, the sculpture show with the clay, and then there was a moving, and everybody was standing around. They weren't sure that it was real or a statue, but that was fabulous shows that you have there. So so you have the performances, mm-hmm. you have the art, you have helping other people in Westchester County. So, and it started by Janet.
The Arts Council was formed in '65, and Janet's been at the helm for, I don't want to say how long because I'm sure she'll get mad at me. But no, Janet's done a lot to really expand the programming that we do at home, but then also how we help the community at large.
She's doing a fabulous job. And now, how did you get involved?
Well, the way I found Arts Westchester is actually I read something about Janet in Westchester magazine. So I took it out and I stuck it on my pushpin board when I was in school. I was a economics major and an art history minor, and went on to get my master's in art history, and was determined to do an internship at Arts Westchester. I did that, finished my degrees, and then there was an opening for the gallery position. I'd been at MoMA. I had worked my way around a few galleries in the city. Threw my resume in. Janet and I clicked. Luckily, we see eye to eye. It's a phenomenal place to work. It's a great group of people, and our mission, I think, is very important.
Yeah, you do have a mission statement.
We do.
Yeah. You know it? Do you remember it? No.
The crux of what we do. The crux of what we do is to promote the arts in Westchester and to make it accessible for the community.
Yeah, it sounds like a fab. You're getting to meet artists all the time and performances.
It doesn't get any better.
And do you have people that come in and say, "Where's the bank?"
Yes.
You do? So after all these years?
Where's Chase? Where's Bank of America? We pretty much, I wouldn't quite say every day, but we do get the frequent visitor that's
so funny
with their ATM card that's ready to swipe.
Well, but it does look like a bank building in a way, but the way you've changed it around, I think it's fabulous. Well, thank you so much for coming here and telling us all about this. I really appreciate it, and I hope that everybody realizes what a fabulous space it is and comes all the time and becomes a member and everything.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome. And now I'm here with Benida Hui. She is the curator of the show at Westchester Arts Council that is there until August 11th. But she's also the founder of a very interesting organization called RARE. Welcome, Benida.
I'm happy to be here.
And
Thanks,
so
Gigi.
Now that I've said that acronym RARE, you're going to have to tell us what it means.
Yes, RARE stands for Rare Animals Really Endangered, and it's a company I started about 2 years ago, and it's really about kind of implementing awareness through the emergence of art and science to kind of educate both more of the younger generation, but also the older, to be a little bit more conscious of our decisions.
Okay, and so how does this work now? You're involved in art, but it would be about these endangered species. So that's why this show at Westchester is...
Yes. That's the whole unique aspect of it. It's really, although we do focus more on endangered species, it's kind of utilizing art as a vehicle to really bring about that awareness.
Okay.
And the show itself is kind of bringing together both scientists, educators, artists, as well as children under one roof to really tell the story about both the Long Island Sound as well as the Hudson River that surrounds Westchester.
All right, but your company or your organization doesn't specifically about the Hudson River. It's about everything. It's because I looked on your website and I saw that you had an African and all kinds. Yes.
Yes. So it's really art focused.
Okay. All right. So would this be the kind of show then that your organization would do? You would go around in different venues and.
Yes, that's what we hope. Really, the core of it is really kind of using art as the focus, but through art educational outreach.
Okay.
So with the science base.
Okay.
So.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about this show, because when you walk in, there's a fabulous sculpture.
It's the central piece. We call it the tree of more aquatic life, per se. And it's really represents the core of what the show is about. And it's a mix of both different found pieces of metal along the Hudson River.
But it's beautifully either polished or something. They've done something to these found pieces.
Yes. And Wilfredo Morel, the artist, really has a sensitive touch to how he really captured what the show was about. And it's an integration of not only water life, but also about human kind of life along the Hudson River. A lot of the pieces that you'll find has a part based on history, whether it be the Singer factory or the Crayola factory, and all those little pieces come into play. And at the base itself are these beautiful shaped oysters. And
real oysters?
No. These,
but metal oysters. Are they metal then?
Yes, the metal oysters. And they really are at the core or the heart of what the show is about, because oysters is really what founded New York. So you'll see kind of little pieces around repetition of the oysters kind of coming out around the show.
It's like a history,
a little bit of emphasis.
And history and science and art. Now this is a site-specific piece that he developed for that space, or is that that typical of his work?
It's for the show itself.
Okay, but that's not typical of his work.
He does wonderful kind of abstract pieces, but this was certainly specifically made for the show.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. So it's right there when you walk in. And then, didn't you have schools and?
Yes, we did have schools that came into play. We have high school, the Blue Mountain School up in Croton. We also had.
What now? They did art pieces.
Yes, and that's what's so wonderful about the show. It's kind of bringing into that educational aspect through art, kind of focusing on, the Blue Mountain School did a kind of recycled material about the species found along the Hudson River.
Okay.
So they had utilized a lot of duct tape and just different pieces, and they took a trip to the aquarium to learn about the species in the Long Island Sound.
Now, how does RARE did you authorize this? Did you teach? How did you work with the schools?
It's actually a mix depending on what the school's comfort level is. So all of our programs are kind of integrated into the school and working with the teacher or us guiding the actual class.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah,
sounds really
it's
good.
wonderful.
And let's just go back to the oyster thing, because you have also in the show a fisherman shack.
Yes, Tom Van Buren, who works with Arts Westchester, actually was. he did a wonderful job kind of putting that together, and both an intern and I kind of painted it to give it that old fisherman look. So, you know, it was dirty work, but we were actually very lucky enough to have both the Long Island Maritime Museum loan us some wonderful equipment, old oystering equipment, some old traps, as well as we've been in contact with a few fishermen, what we call old water rats, who have just lived by the river, and they have generous enough to loan us, you know, some of their fishing equipment as well to exhibit.
Great. And then you have some tools there also?
We have baskets. You know, we actually did a workshop that involved either basket weaving and how the Native Americans actually lived along the river.
Oh, really?
So we also implement educational workshops every other weekend to bring in that learning aspect as well.
So is there something that every week there was something for the kids or for the adults?
Actually, for both. Both. We recently did, well, an upcoming one is we've working with the Department of Environmental Protection and who actually runs an eel program.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, and
do we have eels here?
Yes, we do, and they travel all the way from the Bermuda Triangle.
No kidding.
Yeah, and they come up along the Hudson River to spawn.
Really?
So you'll find, like, you know, glass eels, you know, maybe about 2 inches long that come up and they just remember
little
the way.
Ones. So they're freshwater?
Well, that's what was unusual about the eel themselves. They actually are born out in, you know, the ocean, and they come all the way back to freshwater to seek fresh water in order to spawn and grow and be reborn.
Well, next time I swim in the Hudson, I'm going to have to.
Yes.
Not that I ever have.
Yes.
Yeah. And so tell us about some of the other things that are in this show.
Well, we have a wonderful I've heard a lot of people ooh and ah about our section upstairs, which is called "What's It Like to Be a Fish?"
Wow.
And we had 2 wonderful artists who I work closely with, and they did these beautiful murals, which I blew up. I took to a printer and blew up from floor to ceiling. And what it shows is the salt water on one end of the room, and then the fresh water on the other end. And they come and mix, which is what makes an estuary, and which is what Hudson River is. And they come to meet in the middle, which we have, which the space of Arts Westchester has these beautiful arched windows. Yeah. So they meet together in this arched windows, and we've kind of created a stained glass kind of imagery.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's the intermixing. So.
But it's not really stained glass. It's just an image.
It's printed. It's printed on a form of plexiglass.
Okay.
That gives it that kind of stained glass feel.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's a really interesting show because you have a huge area that has, I don't want to call it garbage, but it's got...
Essentially, you know, we did try to focus on using recycled materials, and we do have...
And was that done by some of the children in the schools, or was that done by an artist?
That was done by an artist, yes. And again, we do have the schools kind of intermixed in between that are around the show as well. Some of the other pieces was kind of... a partnership between the youth bureaus, the Peekskill Youth Bureau, as well as the White Plains Youth Bureau. And it was a project focused on oysters. What Peekskill Youth Bureau was looking for was something that would tie in with Juneteenth, the celebration that they put on every year. And we had discovered through our research that the African Americans were the first culture that really, once freed, sustained themselves on oysters, and that's what started our oystering industry.
Really?
So yes, Yes.
See, amazing things you can learn by doing an art show.
Wonderful.
It's fabulous.
It's wonderful, and this is what we bring into the classroom.
Yeah, well, I think your organization is fabulous. I think the show is fabulous. I wish you lots of luck. I look forward to seeing many more shows.
Absolutely.
And I hope that everyone comes to see
I hope so too, and they'll learn a little something along the way.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now I'm back with Kathleen Reckling, the director of the Westchester Arts Gallery in White Plains, and we're going to talk a little bit about the future and what shows are coming up. Welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you.
So this show that's there now, we're going to talk to the curator about that, but that's over August 11th.
Correct.
And what's coming in after that?
So we have a little pause, but we kick off our new season on September 20th with a show called Celebrities, We Remember Them Well. It's a photography exhibition, which we're very excited about. It's going to be curated by Milton Ellenbogen, who's a Westchester-based photography expert and dealer. And he has amassed a fantastic collection of very intimate photographs by well-known photographers of celebrities.
Is this his collection?
No, he's gone out. Some of it's from his collection. Some of it's from Tony Vaccaro's. He's collaborated with the Howard Greenberg Gallery in the city. So he's gone to Westchester collectors and some well-known spaces in the city to get really the best of the best.
Sounds fascinating. So there'll be all pictures of celebrities. They're posed, candid.
A little bit of everything. There's some studio shots. There's movie stills. We have a full range of personages, Marilyn Monroe to well-known athletes. One of the highlights actually will be showing photos by Alan Tenenbaum, who is a very well-known photographer in the city and really captured a lot of life in the 1970s in the city, but he's well known for photographing John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
Okay.
So we have some beautiful intimate portraits of the couple, some from their last days together.
Mm-hmm.
He photographed them 10 days before Lennon was shot.
Wow.
And those are really stunning, and we'll be featuring those along with some of his other photographs.
So will that take the 2 floors then?
It will be both floors. Right now the plan is to focus on the John Lennon and Yoko Ono prints on the 2nd floor.
Okay.
And then, again, it'll be a little bit of everything.
And again, when does that open?
That opens September 20th, and it'll run, I believe, to November 11th.
Okay. And what happens to the gallery from the August 11th to September? Is it just closed? Or?
We'll be doing turnover then. The
Okay.
Fish Tales is a fantastic multimedia exhibition, and to get the gallery prepped for our next season, we need a little downtime.
All right. So how far in advance do you plan? Do you know what comes in after these photographs?
We do. We have our calendar programmed out for the next year. We'll have a little bit of a break. We do performances as well, so we leave a little bit of room to do some of those and leave the gallery open. Sometimes we are able to do the 2 together.
Okay.
There'll probably be some performances going on at the time that we do.
I guess it depends on how many walls you have with the
Exactly.
sculpture and things like that, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
2D shows are a little bit easier to program the performances around. But after that, we'll have our annual holiday boutique, which is great local artisans come in and sell everything from hand-knit sweaters to handmade jewelry, and that's a lot of fun, and that'll be a 2-day event.
Is that a juried exhibition, or is that how do you choose?
We'll send out a call. That'll be launching in a few days, and then we do have a committee that selects who will be participating.
Okay, and you try to do a range of different things that. Yeah.
Absolutely, we try to get ceramic artists. We try to get jewelry makers. Get a nice representation so that everybody can go home with something for the holidays.
That's great.
And then in the new year, mid-January, we'll be opening a boat builders show. So that is curated.
That sounds interesting.
Well, there's going to be an 18-foot sailboat in the gallery, so that it's going to be interesting.
18-foot and how tall? You don't know yet.
I don't know. The good thing is we have very high ceilings. So
but how do you get it in the door? That's what I want to know. Well, I guess the mast comes off.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
We've gotten a 14-foot boat into the gallery. We've gotten some pretty large pieces in through our doors. But that will be curated by Tom Van Buren, who's our folklorist.
And when you say folklorist, what does that mean?
So Tom very much specializes in, or is very into promoting the folk arts. So things like traditional musicians or folk art styles, quilt making. We've done shows like that in the past. Boat building being a folk tradition, something that's been handed down.
Okay, So he's curating this show.
He's curating that. We're working. He's collaborating with Long Island Traditions, and
I don't know this. Long Island Traditions is.
It's
Is it a boat building place, or it's just a place that has crafts, or?
I think it's a folklore or a folk tradition.
Okay. Right. And so they're collaborating, and they're going to build. You're going to be hands-on in this exhibition, or?
Yeah, I'll be helping with the.
No, I mean people that come in.
Oh.
I know you're hands-on all the time, Kathleen.
I can't escape, which is great.
Yeah.
But I believe there'll be some workshops and some lectures involved with it.
Okay.
We will be showing, I believe, a kayak that's made by. There's a group I think in Hastings where you can go and build your own kayak and learn to paddle it. So that'll be also one of the pieces that we feature.
What's so great is you learn about other places when you do something like this. You know, you just don't go and see. You learn a lot about what's going on in the area,
and there's a lot of with something like the boat building is that there's a lot of hubs all over the county. Peekskill Boat Builders. There's Hastings, and an exhibition like this kind of brings them all into one place, and not just showing what they make, but then talking about the history of Westchester. We have two big bodies of water on either side of us.
That's true.
Fishing's been important, and recreational boating's been important, and so that is all going to be shared.
And it is an art.
It is.
These things are an art, right?
Wood floats, but making a
beautiful
something out of it.
Right.
You know, is an art form.
Right. And so then the next one after that, or is that as far as you've planned?
We are looking at potentially a hat exhibition.
Oh, that sounds
which
like fun.
We're pretty excited about. Hats are on a rise. They're back. They're back in fashion.
There must be something you could say about that hat on the rise. Okay.
Yeah. There was a time when no one left the house without a hat on.
That's true.
And that sort of went away. And thanks, I think, largely in part to Kate Middleton and the royal family. Thank you. I've always been a fan of headwear. The hats are becoming popular here in the States again.
I would love that if they do. You know?
The LA Times just interviewed Louise Green, who's a pretty well-known milliner here in the States, British-born, and they're actually preparing a piece on the rise of hats in fashion again.
Wow.
So, I know we're in New York, but keep an eye out on the LA Times, and you'll find the article.
Yeah, I saw in the store the other day one of those hats from the
fascinators, the little bits with the
things on them. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of people wearing them though. A couple sometimes, like you go to a show or something, and they'll be, artists will always do something like that.
If you stop by our holiday boutique, you'll see me in my mini top hat.
Oh, okay. That sounds great.
So that's something that we're looking at for the spring, and our board members are actually quite savvy in millinery and the history there. So, and then after that, we're hoping to do an exhibition on public art in Westchester. This was an exhibition we'd actually done several years ago, and it was very successful. We put out a call to artists to imagine a space in Westchester where they could create a piece of public art for the community to enjoy. And they did drawings, mock-ups, small models, and we are looking to do the same thing for next year's spring-summer.
All right, that sounds terrific. So we've got the show, the photography show in September, and then the boat show, then the holiday show, the holiday boutique, and then this boat building, and then we've got
our hats.
We've got the hats, and then we're up to a whole year already.
Yeah.
Terrific. Well, thank you. I hope that you'll come back and talk about the shows when they're up, and we can invite people to come.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Gigi.
And thank you for watching.